So let's start with like a kind of a simple one. Alright. Let's do something simple. life. Oh yeah, that's good. Taking out the trash? No, sorry. Microsoft is good, but I'm actually doing, I'm streaming a writing session. I just have Microsoft in the, as the background game playing, basically, more or less. I'm still trying to figure out how to do all the streaming stuff, but it looks like I'm gonna have to either get on Allie's computer or get my own setup for any of that, because all of that does not, all of the streaming stuff, like all of the like widgets and stuff, do not work with Xbox streaming at all. Yeah. So that fucking sucks. And I don't even, I'm gonna fuck around with it on Allie's computer, but I don't even know if I am on computer, if I can still like stream on Xbox while having the computer run the programs necessary. It's starting to look like you just have to stream on computer if you're gonna stream, which is trash. So, yay? Yay. How is stuff for you? Yeah, he was throwing up a bit. Yeah, we'll just have to keep an eye on that. Yeah. As long as it's not too much, you know what I mean? Then it's just it going out of his system. Me too. It's hard to restart a story that you were on and wrote a big chunk of and then realize that maybe it wasn't. Kill your darlings, you know? You always gotta kill your darlings and stuff. And this is just one of those things. Though I might need to kill this entire story idea off and try something else, but I wanna at least give it one more try before I really decide on that. I have this notebook that my grandmother gave me, and I really would like to just fill it with all of the story that I can. And I got halfway through and realized that the story wasn't very good. Or rather, the idea I had for my story was really good, the execution of how I'm doing that was poor. And then I needed to make it better. Which is fine. But it's hard. Fine, but hard. Story that I'm not going to continue out loud, just so I have daughter-in-law Beth, who seemed to be unaware of her child being missing. Beth, where is Will? Beth smiled. I'm sure he and his wife are here, or rather, maybe they're in another afterlife. Allie's always believed in reincarnation, so they may be back on Earth. Before Judy could say anything about not seeing either of them on the world screens, Beth had left with Judy's son Rob to one of the spas. Judy couldn't help but to worry. Were they in hell? No, but then again. No, but then again, there was only one person who could tell her for sure where Will and his wife was. Judy made it to the golden throne. My lord, she asked, knowing the son's kindness. My child, what bothers you? Jesus said, concerning his voice. My grandchild isn't here. Surely they aren't in hell, are they? Her voice pitched at the end with worry. No, Will and Allie are in Valhalla. Valhalla? She was a bit confused, and she had heard of it, of course, but why and how did Will end up there? Yes, it's an afterlife for warriors. Does that make you feel better? Is it a good place? Will my grandbaby be happy? You are truly worried. Hanel, come, please, Jesus called to his angel. A tall man with bright wings appeared bowing. My lord, who is free to take his soul on a tour to Valhalla to find a child devoted for a transfer? No, for a visit. Ah, Ezreal has been looking for an excuse to see her friend Astrid. I will go visit her. Another bow before he was gone. You're not mad, my lord? Judy asked softly, a little tinge of worry still in her voice. No, of course not. Your worrying is endearing. Your warm heart is so large with innocence. Before Judy could continue the conversation, the angel Azrael appeared. Hello, dear one. I will take you to Valhalla. She held out a hand, and Judy took it without hesitation. If you hi, Azrael, are there many afterlives? Judy asked. Yes, of course. The point of an afterlife is to reward people for living, so it gives the universe energy to keep going. It's hard to make everyone happy in one place. There was a long silence. I'm sure you understand that many people have used our Lord and God to do many hurtful things to others and gain power or wealth at the cost of others. That in turn makes those who were hurt resent and mistrust our God and Lord. Other gods, goddesses, places, pockets for those who wish for only rest and peace. Everyone who does their best in life deserves it. So there are many types of afterlives. Are you not happy with your afterlife? Are you thinking of transferring? No, I wouldn't. I'm so happy here. It was more of a wondering thought than anything else. You say transfer as if, and other afterlives, these are things that never happen. So of course now I'm curious on how that works. They flew for a few more moments in silence before Azrael spoke. Human souls' happiness is very important as an energy source. Though we are all sad when someone transfers or is reincarnated, it is important that the soul is able to do so, even if that means we are going to the void. The void? The woman asked as the angel, voice full of fear and heartache. Don't fear it. It's not a place or anything. It's not an awful place or anything. It's just simply a place of rest for people who do not have much more to give, nor do they want anything from the universe. It wasn't much longer until they landed on a rainbow bridge. Where walking? Judy asked the angel. Yes. This isn't a place to be perceived as a threat in any way. Azrael's voice was on edge. Astrid, will you meet us? She called out. Judy never seen a Valkyrie before, but now that she had, she was indeed in awe. Angels and Valkyrie were indeed very similar, but differences were stark and shocking. Angels wore silks that had a warm, welcoming demeanor. Valkyrie, in contrast, had a hard face and were dressed for battle. Even their wings looked as sharp as if the feathers could be knives. My dear friend, is it a transfer? There was a hint of worry in the Valkyrie's voice. Nothing like that, Astrid. This is Judy. She is worried for Does this make a song? She asked. Astrid shrugged. Sometimes. Not to normal visitors, but almost always to warriors returning home. I see. Judy still liked the sound of the random notes. Soon the small group was met by a large dark-skinned man who nodded at them. A visitor? He asked, voice firm. A visitor. Both winged beings agreed. Astrid smiled. How is the day? Dala? Nothing much to report. The Indians have made today one of victory in clearing both the roads and the branches of Yggdrasil, so you will have peace on the road ahead. Thank you, friend, Astrid said as they pushed forward from the outpost. There are enemies here? I thought heaven was a place of peace. Heaven? Yes. Valhalla? No. Asriel sighed. As Astrid cut in, how do you think that peace is achieved? Valhalla sits in a place where all realms meet. That does mean that they are the first defense against chaos and those who would wish to destroy not only the afterlives of others, but all life. Indriel, like your grandson, fight and hunt daily to keep the safety and life. Doesn't sound fair, Judy frowned. Why must they be forced to fight? Forced? Came the unison crying of the guardians. No, Will chose this just as much as you chose heaven. Maybe I can convince him to transfer. Will was always so tired. I can't imagine this to be the rest he would seek. Astrid sighed heavily. Maybe, but see what their life is like before you do such a thing. Judy nodded, but bit her lips. Judy nodded, but bit her lip. Distracted by my... Judy bit her lip, nodded, but bit her lip. Soon they came to a large blue and white golden gates. Astrid held up a sigil, and slowly they swung open. Will should be living in the Willow District, but we may have to find them out and about. To switch over to notes. Asgard smelled so different from heaven. Heaven smelled like home, a homemade meal. Asgard smelled like trees and dirt and steel and the tang of blood. It made Judy's nose and soul itch slightly. Judy knew she didn't belong here, so how could Will and Allie? Asgard was so large. Rainbow windows, blue and white buildings, large long houses dotted the skyline. The roads were rainbow and seemed to stretch on forever. They seemed to walk on forever as well. Said, and Judy agreed. They were gathered at the front of... there were gatherings of huts, houses, and even from every generational era. The small group moved to the 90s-looking housing. Astrid showed them a small red house. They knocked, and Judy relaxed when she saw Allie. Oh, guest! Oh, Judy! She said, letting the trio scream. It was cozy, lightly decorated, and smelled of incense and roses. They sat at the table, and Allie poured tea and coffee. It is so good to see you. In life I didn't get to make much time with you. It's a pleasure to have those parties with both of you. May I ask, where's Will? Judy got straight to the point, cupping the tea in her hands. Oh, he is either at the war games or hunting. Allie put a finger to her chin. It's too early for him to be at Freya's, but maybe. Judy sipped on her tea and looked at Astrid. Should we wait? at the War Games. He will be in the West battlefields. If hunting, well, honestly, anywhere on Aegis Zone. Please be careful. They finish their beverage and cookies and head out. So my pacing's all off. I should have described heaven more. There's a lot going on in this one. Western Battlefield wasn't too far, and Judy knew she wasn't going to like it, but nothing could have prepared her for this. Blood and visceral. I thought you couldn't die once dead, she murmured. Azrael smiled. There are ways to destroy a soul, however, this isn't one of them. Though they feel this pain, it will not kill them. Look, I see Will, Astrid pointed. Judy saw just in time to see Will bring down a large man, only to be brain juiced by a hammer. Judy screamed and turned away. This place is hell. Azrael stayed with the distraught monarch, while Astrid gathered Will from the spawns. Will's clothes were a mess, his breasts were out slightly as he drank his ale, only fixing them when the Valkyrie came into view. My lady, he greeted. What brings you to the War Games on this fine afternoon? Astrid smiled and pointed. Your grandmother Judy came for a talk. Oh no. Will looked at his shell-shocked grandmother on the field. Let's go see Gran, he said, swiftly righting his clothing and hair, shaking out what blood and visceral there was. Yes, well, I should warn you, she wants you to transfer. No, he sighed again. Today is going to be a very, very long day. Will's mind chewed through all of the outcomes. They walked across the field, and Will was swept up into a hug. Does it hurt? Are you okay? You can't die again. It only hurts for a moment, Gran. It's good to see you. Will hugged back tightly. I have to hunt. Do you want to come? It will be easy. Your cell is so beautiful this time. Will smiled. We can stop by the house and say hi to Allie if you haven't already. Are you mad to fight in those games? Are you made to fight in those games? Made to? No, not unless you count my soul needing to fight. I choose it, like everyone else. I just wanted to join the fray. Wanted to? Disbelief high in her voice. There was a shock and awe. Truly, you don't want to spend your afterlife fighting. It doesn't make sense. Will, why wouldn't you want peace? My Lord Jesus is an afterlife of peace. Surely he has a secret. Will looked between the Valkyrie, the angel, and his grandmother. He might, but I don't belong there. Peace isn't in my soul, and heaven been the only place I would have fought a god. You can't mean that. I do. Long pause. Let's go to my home. They walked in awkward silence. Soon the home came into view, and Will got visibly happy. Allie will be happy to see us. And see you guys. We stopped by earlier, Astrid commented. Oh, then she's probably making a large lunch. I'll definitely be hunting for dinner. Will opened the door and was bum-rushed by a fierce hug by his wife. I am glad our guests stayed. I am having a big lunch cooking, she said, waving everyone inside. Come sit. Watch some TV. It is close to finished. Everyone sat, less tense, but still, Judy seemed to be on edge. Is this the place truly good for both of you? She reluctantly asked Will. Yes, but come with me hunting after lunch and you'll see. This place is as beautiful as it is brutal. You'll see. For now, please, let my wife take the rest. Long pause. Judy, is your husband in the light of heaven with you? The room stood still, but Judy did not even flinch. Yes, the only one that is missing at my table is you. I see. The Grandpa. They're part of why I didn't want to come visit. Will turned off the TV and pressed his hands to the table. A music sign appeared and soft music filled the air. I learned we are all sorted one way or another, Will breathed in. So I'm sorry I didn't visit, and I promise to do so now. Please. Sorted, Judy's voice trembled. I was guided. Azrael said, that's a benefit of our Lord Jesus and the Holy Spirit. Very few of our flock need way or guidance. Your angel brings you from one side to the other. Your brother Joe was weighed as he stood as a Christian, in many ways false, and was given a chance, and again by the Lord's three, he spent some rehab work in hell before coming to join you. Some time for him, but for your happiness, it needed only a blink of an eye before he had earned his heaven. You were weighed? Judy asked Will, thankful for the tea from Allie. She had missed people doing things for her. In heaven, everything was kind of rich. Here, there was still work to be done. Esther picked up one of the forecasters' smiles. For Will, he spent time in the music of the universe, resting until he came to himself. As any pagan would, or multi-belief, even agnostic would, he was met by Anubis who weighed his heart. Will choked. No, well, yes, I demanded to weigh my own. He wasn't out, so therefore I wasn't going to let him touch my heart. He offered to get her, but I said she was the only one, but she herself would not have the heart. But I did. I know my lover. He is built for her, so I trained in Freya's realm to be here for him. I would not be separated from him by anything, let alone Helheim, Allie interrupted. Judy nodded, but before she could ask, Allie offered. This served as my choice, that my love showed. If it helps, even when I was nothing but vibrations, I was never scared or alone. Will offered. Peace and rest is deserved as much as a second chances. We were both offered reincarnation. I was the one who asked if Odin, Freya, Loki, Lofen, or Terra had worn up their tables. Well, I trained my soul before coming back. When I needed to stand on Midgard, though if I were to be honest, the work I found keeps me happy. Will sat forward. What about your friends makes it hard to see? Will became quiet. Well, let me tell you of Terrasvi. The Hibernae Rennae of Terrasvi. Or Tesla. It's a soft, lush world Tesla existed in. A circular city, old and cut off from the rest of the world, with enchanted high walls. High in the soft sky, a seed fell like a shooting star. A few older townsfolk pointed it out to the children. Look, a charcoal feather has been sent by God. These angels are always good luck, and we have so few of them on this side of town. The seed landed softly in a large clock tower attached to an old, no longer used library. It was a neglected room, but had enough light that the seed grew into a large egg. Inside the egg, a boy was having a dream. Warm, dry air rushing all around him. It was comfortable. He felt like it was waking in a strange way. Falling. Somehow he knew it was meant to be the other way around. The sounds of waves, distant yet still frightening. Everything was safe and soft, and yet the sounds of waves pushed him onwards, pushing him away from the sound. Pushing and pushing again, he woke, surrounded by water and green. The strangeness and fear gripping the boy, he strained against the green, hard edges that seemed to slowly give. In his panic overriding the observation that he could breathe in the liquid. Krat was doing his rounds when the star had fallen a few days ago. It had landed either in the library or in the old hospital. Both places were looking for a seed, maybe by now an egg. No sooner than Krat had the idea to stop for the day than he caught sight of a soft glow closed study. The library was large, and had many rooms over the third floors. Karat did not think it would be so easy to find, though he sighed it had taken about a day's to find. Once he set a lamp in the room, he promptly ran to the others. I found the egg. It's in the upper study room, third floor. Really? What a place to be born. We should probably leave, the tallest of the three said. I'm not sure I can, Hatel. I have to work. Today's my last day off. Then help us clean today, Hatel shot back. The shortest of them agreed, standing. Let's start now. The three of them grabbed brooms, buckets, and clothes. It took them the better part of the day to clean the room, but when it was done, it looked a little good, if not just a tad bit old. The three winged boys also took time to bring up a bed, a lamp, and a sink chest. Three winged and haloed boys. It was looking more and more like a bedroom. See, this is a place where I haven't been anymore. They each took shifts watching the egg. Yet, with all of the careful planning, the egg was still alone for mealtime. As it happened, that would be when it was hatched. Excuse me. The small thing spilt out and good amount of liquid. Coughing confused, the man looked around, trying to stand, only to fall hard on his knees. Ow, he gasped. I just realized that maybe I should turn down the music. Alright. Rue took his shift only to call out to the others into the room. I can't carry him alone. Hatel nodded and picked up the limp body, taking him to the living room. Hatel backed up as everyone gathered to see the new hibernator. Do you hurt? A sharp nod. I won't lie, it will get worse before it gets better. Another sharp nod. Do you remember your dream? My dream? The voice cracked, but the almost pitch blue eyes searched each person in the room. Hatel smiled with crooked teeth. I'm Hatel, swinging. I dreamt of a playground, swinging and swinging higher than even the moon. That's correct. It means slit. I fell through the ground, making a clean slit like Play-Doh. Karat's black wings fluttered. And I'm Rue Hatch. Or, just Rue. It means wings. Their gray wings fluttered wide. I jumped up flying. Isn't that cool? The new boy nodded. I remember the sounds of waves pushing me over an edge, falling forever. He recounted. But my name... Wait, my name is... You can't remember. Likewise, no one here in this world knows who you were before you hatched, Hatel explained. Oh, really? Yes. Now, a name for you. Natalia or Yam. Both mean sea. Which do you like better? Yam? Like the food? Wait, how can I remember that but not my name? Karat came close. We don't really know, but my guess is when we are born with skills that we need and nothing else. Because we aren't born babies. We need to communicate well. Hatel sighed. I am taking care of Yam's wings. You guys go get the wing maker. Rue nodded excitedly. I told you we should have gotten it yesterday. Rune's halo shimmering. Karat grabbed Rue's hand, leaving quickly. Now there's some peace. How are you feeling, Yam? Can I see your back? Yam sat up more and leaned in. My back does hurt a bit, but I just thought, slept wrong or something. No, your wings are coming in. Hatel urged the other to lay on his stomach, rubbing the large red spots that were already had sharp edges pressing against the skin. Hatel held the ice in the middle. It will hurt, and then you'll run a fever. They'll be over soon, so just bear it for some time. It feels like I'm being pulled apart, Yam gasped in sudden pain as the bulges moved, trying to escape the skin. Just breathe. Breathing seemed so hard to do when your back was being ripped apart from the inside out. But Yam tried his best, only to scream. Hitel moved the ice in small circles, only removing it when the tips finally broke through. The wings spread, cutting the back around 4 inches. Yam screamed. "Shh, I got you," Hitel soothed. The moment Yam passed out, Hitel started the hard work of cleaning the blood and grease out of the gray wings, as well as stitching up the slits. Hitel's own white wings itched as he cleaned the boy's new feathers. They were quickly turning black. Hitel sighed, and he knew he would have to tell Korat. Yam woke up slightly. "I'm hot," he groaned. Hitel nodded and placed a cool cloth on the other, who then instantly went back to sleep. Hitel cleaned each feather, taking his time, and time it did take. Hours went by, and only the small hours of the night was he done, and still Hitel chose to sit by Yam until Rue came in. "You should sleep now. I'll take over. No worries." "If you're sure, Rue," Hitel would not argue, as he was sleepy and his hands were tired from the cleaning. Hitel walked to his room, giving a prayer to God that Yam would be okay. Back in Valhalla. "I don't remember those names as your friends," Judy mused. "They got new names for their new lives, but I could recognize their souls." Will poured more tea. "I don't understand. Doug was in heaven waiting for me." "Doug said he hadn't gone anywhere first." "Souls get sorted. The front desk and Hell's help desk and Anubis are all places for sorting. Doug, most deserve rest. Some need rehab. A very few deserve hell. Some only think that they deserve worse than they do," Astrid interjected. "We try hard not to let any soul become lost, though the numbers of souls means that some small percentage of them do get lost, and soul trackers try to find them. Will, in fact, volunteers as a tracker. It's a hard job, but I'm glad for the empathy of humans." Judy nodded slowly, turning to Azrael. "Doug." Azrael sighed. "Doug was chosen to die the way he did, so his spot was saved, and he was never lost, only ever waiting for you." "Could you not go into Tesfast and speak with them?" Judy asked, sipping her tea and worrying her hands. "Yes and no. I stayed to watch them for a long time because it's not an afterlife per se. It's more like a purgatory. They each have their own rules. I could have a short life as a bird, but I would only be able to help one of them. So I watched to see who would need help. At the end, they all needed me, and I was a coward. I stayed away from home for a long while as punishment to myself. I forced myself to see other friends, Shangri-La, the heavenly skies. A word I wrote down but I have no idea how to pronounce. Triasum? Mount Olympus? Well, I guess the soul pool. I even got as close to the Abrahamic heaven, though, as the Rastafarian side of heaven. But that's a fuzzy border. I saw some of my friends carved out a small place for themselves. Will stood to pace. "Still, you didn't come see your family? Surely there's a reason." "I'm hoping to convey that reason through this story. But the short answer is, I will always want to fight your God. Maybe not Jesus, but God, yes." The room became silent. "You're right. Explain." "Well, the Hibernate. Bruce sat on the chair softly, starting to sing to Yam, who was groaning but still asleep. Bruce sang and soothed the other's feathers as the fever ran high. The day was long, and each Each older feather took turns taking care of the new feather. On the second day, Yam was awake and slowly moving. Hold still, Yam. Now I have to give you your halo. Marking you as an official Hibernate. May its light show you the way in this life. Karat pressed a strange metal contraption over his head, and when Karat opened it, a golden halo appeared. Yam touched it, pulling back at first as it was hot. It won't stay hot, but be careful, as it is now part of you. Well, you're new, so we'll show you around town, and when you are used to it, we will find you work. Rue came through the door. Sorry I'm late. I got the notebook, though. Karat smiled. When you have time, write in this notebook. You can read old notebooks as well as to see how others lived before us. Yam took the notebook. Okay, well, we don't like to have a purpose we don't have a purpose or something, like needing to be done? Not any more than any other human, no. The Hibernate Run may probably want to see you to give you a work pad, but other than that, you should rest a bit. You're still new. Yam looked at his hands. His body seemed odd, but fresh. His wings still hurt. Rain pelted the window outside. Yam got up and moved around. Where are we? You said you'd show me around town. The town of Tasva. It's a bit on the large side, so it's best that you only go out with one of us, Karat warned, and then set down some food. Yam ate quietly but quickly. He felt like he wanted to know everything. He felt so strange, as if his skin was not his. The feeling stemmed from his wings. They alone felt so surreal. This world felt like a dream, only the pain letting him know that this was realer than anything else he could imagine. After eating, Yam walked around on shaky legs. Karat showed him around and showed at a slow pace. There are tons of books as well as journals, so feel free to read as you like. This is the common room. Most of our meals are kind of fend for yourself, but we do try to do at least one meal together. The third floor is kind of empty, so be careful when up there. The common room was large and open, 4 windows and a balcony, a large table in the middle, and a small kitchen to the side. Everything looked so mismatched, and yet somehow fit together. It was also one of the only painted rooms, a soft seafoam green. It was faded to white where the sun hit. Still, it smelt like potatoes and chickens from dinner. This is nice and homey. Yam touched a chair and smoothed the wood. Karat smiled. I think so. Each feather leaves something to make the library a little bit more like home. These paintings were left by my senior Rock. They are my favorite things. Oh, when do I meet him? Yam asked, only feeling wrong about the innocent question when Karat's face fell. You won't. Rock took flight a year ago. Died? More or less, it's the same result, but no. As a Hibernate, from now until about 8 years you will live and thrive, and then one day you will feel right, and leave without a word. Your wings will grow large and charcoal gray, and you will ascend to whatever the next life after this world is. Or maybe just over the walls. Only us feathers will notice, maybe a handful of townsfolk. It is tradition for them to not mention it, as their lives are longer. So we do have a purpose. No, it's not like that. Each person is different. We do know from the notebooks that our wings are a big key. Yours are black, Hittel's are white, and Rue's are gray. Yes, it is lucky that we even get this much time with Rue. Rook went gray the same day he left, but Rue's have been gray for the last 2 months. I've read somewhere that some Hibernate are born with gray feathers and still live for years. So it's a hint, but there's still so much more we're learning. Rue is going to leave us? we're all going to leave. Though I guess some Haibane become Renmei. I'm not sure how it works. You'll have to ask the communicator when you go. Yam frowned. It was a lot to take in. Yam followed Karat and walked up the stairs, showing his personal room. By the time they were back at Yam's room, his mind was finally slowing down. Yam had questions, but that would have to wait. In Yam's room, everyone was gathered. Rue smiled. Tomorrow, come with me to the Renmei. You can get your workbook, and I'll bring back the Rainmaker. Then we'll go to town. Yeah, that sounds really good. Rue smiled wide, but before he could say any more, Karat interrupted. Then we should dye your wings. Dye? Why? Because they're black? Why does that matter? Hitel spoke up with a sigh. Townsfolk have their own ideas of what the color of our wings mean. They believe black wings are bad luck. I assure you they are wrong. But that said, dyeing your wings will make fewer problems. Yam hummed a bit. It seems like a lot to do all of that just because others are mean. Karat agreed, but mentioned, though you don't have to do it, I suggest it because people being mean is the least of it. Some people will see it as their jobs to interfere with whatever you're trying to do at the time. I dye mine because of this. Really? How do we know the townsfolk are wrong about the color? Well, other than the past notebooks of feathers of all colors, we've also been told by the Renmei a few times, when Karat arrived, that the color is personal and nothing more. That we should be striving for gray wings, not white, which the town thinks of as luck. If anything, gray wings are lucky color, if there was such a thing. Again, if. Yam frowned harder. So the townsmen look different from us? Yes, you'll see, but they are human. But aren't we? Yam frowned at the strange understanding of human he had. We are Haibane. We are born into this world different than them. Our flight is different than their deaths. Our time here is short, and we have no need to fuss with money nor too many hardships. We work because we don't wish to be indebted to them. But humans would almost rather us not work. We take almost no part into their society, but our day-to-day is guaranteed. So we are very different. Yam knitted his eyebrows. It's so confusing. He sat on the newly made bed. What is Renmei? That's a better question for tomorrow. It's been a long day though, and it's early. Why don't you rest? Karat stood from the study chair, and everyone followed out. Yam looked around at the room and picked up the journal and a blue pen that was tucked into the spiral. Hitel, Karat, they are familiar to me. I feel as though I know them before. Rue feels like someone completely new, but they said no one can remember where they came from before hatching. Is that true though? I try to remember anything before my dream, but I can't remember. Not the sound, anything outside of the sound of the ocean. Soon the newborn feather was asleep at his desk, pen still in hand. Waking to move after the sun had set and the room got cold, stiffening his muscles. This was still the reality Yam truly lived in now. Yam woke in a bit of a startle, but was all right for the most part. It was strange to wake up in this world. Yam looked out from the windows. It was softly raining. Yam got dressed in the clothes that he was given. Downstairs, the common room, it was buzzing with activity. It smelled like pancakes and eggs. Yam sat at the table and Rue greeted him. It's good you're up. After food, we can head towards town. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hitel set a plate down in front of Yam. I'm headed out to work. Hope your day is well, he said, turning to leave. Karat served the food. How did you sleep? Well, but the bed is a bit hard. Yam smiled, starting to eat with vigor. Rue laughed and finished, clearing his and Karat's plates. So we'll see the Renmei. Then maybe we should go to the town center. And then maybe from there, the market? It's a big town, kind of split in two. We don't have to see it all today. But really, you should probably need to know You probably don't need to know all of it. The library where they lived was on the outskirts of town, and the first thing Yam noticed was the wall all around them. It was tall and thick. Yam frowned. What are those walls all the way around? Rue looked where Yam was pointing before nodding. Yep, all the way around. Listen, do not touch them. You know we have a lot of traditions, but few rules. This is one of them. And it's for everyone. There's one gate, and guards. Only the Tuga come and no one else leaves. Punishment for touching the walls is harsh, so please. Yam's frown further deepened. No one? Birds and nests on the day of light comes. That's it. Is yours soon? Yam asked. Aren't you scared? Rue walked silently on the dirt road for a time. I don't think it's like dying. We aren't born into this world like humans, so I truly believe our wings are finally figuring out how to fly. The dirt gave away to gravel road, the sweet smell of fresh rain that had just stopped just before they left. Yam looked at the swaying of the trees, and even the destruction turned dark. Yam felt trapped by the walls, but to think one day he would fly somehow scared him more. The gravel roads turned to pavement as they got closer to the center of town. Yam noticed that most of the buildings were stone, partially small. Yam felt as though he had continued to almost remember a home fully of tall buildings, but it was just out of touch. Rue interrupted his thoughts, messing with the ring maker in his hands. That fountain is the town center. He pointed and ran towards a large 4-tier fountain in blue, white, and green tiles. Birds and butterflies and a single no-face hibernate was carved into one side. The whole fountain made Yam slightly uncomfortable. Yam looked around. Sure enough, humans didn't have halos or wings. Some of them were staring at him. Rue came close. Are you okay? Rue placed his hand on Yam's shoulder and comforted him, as everyone looked around. Sinbound, one of the children screamed, and another threw a rock. Rue growled, and the children ran. Rue held onto Yam's arm a little tighter. Come on, let's go see the remnant. What's Sinbound? Yam followed close but was confused. His wings fluttered. They kind of hurt. Yam sighed. It's what humans call hibernate with black wings. This is why Karat said we should have dyed your wings. I should have reminded you about it. I'm sorry. At least it wasn't bad. Karat has had it bad. They went down a large main street dotted with stones, houses, and shops. Yam looked back to see his wings. They have meaning. Flutter, flutter. How could we be sure they aren't right? Well, we have the Remme, but we also have our journals of others. Sin is such a strange thing, you know. Is it? Yam seemed very doubtful. Yes. Rue stopped at a tree where the road turned to gravel again. Everyone is a sinner, but also no one would say that they're sinner. Wouldn't you call that strange? We all know this. Hibernate are born with this weird understanding of sin one way or the other. Humans don't have a physical way of showing it like we do. My best guess is we live cut off from everything because Hibernate are proof of an afterlife. Karat thinks similar, but Hytel, he thinks it's all gibberish. He doesn't say what he thinks, though. Rue sighed next to Yam, who was leaning on the tree. You say that like you don't know for sure. Don't the Remme know? Yes and no. They have a fuller history than us, but there isn't a hard evidence, so this stuff is on the stuff or anything. It's just been what's left behind. I asked a lot of questions when I first went. I came out with more questions than answers. The town is not allowed to access our journals or history, so they make their own. And the Remme just let that happen? Yam stood kicking a rock. I don't think they can stop the townsfolk. Rue pointed at a large, faraway building separated from the town. That's where we're headed. Remnant like us are part of the town but separate. We only use things the humans no longer need. And that herbal research building, we live in a university library. Their new university is much closer to town. So we don't burden humans, but they still put our burdens on us? I mean, yes, but also they make sure that we don't have to deal with the same types of problems in our short lives. Besides, depending on the job, you won't have to deal with anything in town. Also, don't hold the adults to what the little brat children do. This town is more loving than that. Rue started to walk again, and Yam followed, his mind reeling. What questions could he ask that would help me make sense of this world? The buildings thinned out, and they started following the river. Yam liked the wet moss smell, the flowers that dotted all around the banks. The research building was so much bigger close up. It had much more glass than many of the other buildings. The roof was a glass dome. Yam saw a black-robed person outside. Good morning, Rue stopped him. No, the toga can't speak. Only the communicator can speak. With us, don't speak unless spoken to. This is a place of silence and contemplation. Yam was feeling so frustrated. Everything seemed to be so complex. Rules and traditions slathered around upon everything. So enwrapped in his thoughts, he didn't notice that the toga placing bells on his wings. Rue explained that lifting first his right wing and then his left wing. This is how we say yes, this is how we say no. Yam lifted his wings, copying the other. Rue nodded and held open the door for Yam. Inside he smelt plentiful herbs, flowers, soil. It was so bright that every window was perfectly placed to catch as much light as possible. A soft river cut through the middle. Hibernate, you have come to the remnant, one to return the ringmaker. One is the newborn here for their workbook. Is this right? A loud booming voice said. Rue lifted his right wing, and Yam was a bit scared and frozen in fear, unable to lift either of his wings. Good, come closer. Into the sanctuary. They both stepped closer, seeing a black-robed person with wing coverings that had charms hanging from them. The man stepped forward, taking the ring press before turning to Yam. This workbook grants you your daily life. The pages are placed for money. When you find a job, you will record your work in the first few pages. If you need help or questions, find your way back here. You may leave. Yam raised his wings. It was hard, but he shook them. I have a question now, please, he whispered quietly, not sure how to behave. The communicator nodded. Speak freely, then. What are the Hibernate? How are the Remnant different? And why me? The figure chuckled. The Hibernate are winged and haloed beings born from an egg. Yam growled at the semantics, but the communicator continued. The Remnant are those who failed on their day of flight and stay silent and removed from humans, as their new rule dictates, helping as they can for the others who would take flight. The man shifted, his charms chinged and clanged with the movement. As for why you are in Hibernate, I do not know. No one knows the why or how they are chosen, only that they are. Does this satisfy you, Yam? Yam shook his head and raised his wing. No. Truly, do you not have any other information? Not that is provable or solid. At this time, you should head back. Yam nodded and left with Rue. Yam kicked a rock down the street. I had more questions, but he barely answered the ones I gave. Rue shrugged. They aren't all-knowing, not even close. I'm sure you can ask more later. Sure, but the answers are so unsatisfying. Will they always be like that? No, you probably could tell that the Remnant are very semantical, so wording your question is just as important as the question itself. Yam hummed when they walked. What question did you ask, Rue? I asked why we get to ask questions of them. as well as if the air we breathe here is the same as where I come from. A few others. They walked in silence, and then the roads changed from pebbles to pavement again, and then back to pebbles. Why air? Is it because of your name? Kinda. In my dream, I flew, but the wind shifted. I wanted to know, are our dreams personal? They must be. They were named after them. It seems obvious. Maybe, but not everything has meaning. Sometimes a bird is just a bird. Rue seemed to have a dip in his mood as they turned on the bridge home. Yam did not press, but his mind seemed to be running at full speed at all times. More and more questions ever since he woke up. Yam stopped in the courtyard and breathed in deep. Rue, is the air the same? Rue stopped a bit further down. Not for me, but it is for the others. Who knows for you? Right, makes sense. Yam breathed the wet summer air. Everything was just falling. Can I ask about your other question? Yeah, let's go get food and go to my room. I'd rather talk when we're alone. Yam frowned but nodded. Sure, but Rue shook his head and looked up to the balcony where Hetal was looking down at them. Rue waved. Are you hungry? Rue suddenly was so happy and chipper sounding it took Yam by surprise. Yeah, I could go for some food. Yam hesitated, but he didn't think Rue to be secretive or private about things. Yam followed closely and caught up in his mind. Rue watched as Yam walked. They stopped at the common room. Hetal met them. Yam, how did it go? Did you get useless answers to your questions? Hetal laughed. Yeah, the only one I asked because I was absolute nonsense. The Renmei are mostly useless. Mostly, Yam asked as he started the kettle. It was like his body was on autopilot. Somehow his new body wanted tea and he knew how to make it. Well, I'd be biting the hand that feeds me. Our food, our rent for this building, our power as it is. We've even been afforded a TV. But we turned it down for a radio. Hetal eats his sandwich. Hetal took a bite of his sandwich. All of that is negotiated with by both the Tuga and the Renmei. They pay the bills, so all we have to do is write our works write our work and expenses along as it's second-hand. We meet no restrictions on small purchases. Yes, we work, but the townsfolk have real economy. We do not. Hetal held his cup. Tea for me too? Yam nodded, and gestured to Rue, who smiled in agreement. Anyway, I was saying that the Renmei are keepers of our traditions and rules. They don't come to us ever, but summon us from our board. Again, the exchange we can go to them anytime for anything. Whether they are useful or not is another question for another time. Yam thought about it. Why, though, is the purpose of them asking questions but having no real answers? Who knows? Yam poured the tea and sat down, and Rue got a sandwich for both of them. So what are the rules then? Yam asked. Rue snorted. Most of them are what you think. Don't touch the walls, don't go outside the walls, don't partake in money or society, don't fall in love, do the work at the oldest business. I think having second-hand clothing was a tradition that soon became a rule. As for traditions, second-hand things to buy, only living in places no one else's use. Our notebooks have rules to them, and we can only have 100 and then rest to go to the Renmei. They won't stop us from going to read them, but it means that we have to go and try if we want more history. We also have to use the same grocery and something I can't read, as well as everyone else. Hetal waved Rue off. Yam, let me see your back. I need to look to see if the stitches are alright. We'll pull them in a few days. Yam came close, pulling his shirt up. Tomorrow I can go to the thrift store. This is kind of a potato sack. Hitel laughed as he examined the wounds before standing and getting a medical kit from the shelf, putting ointment on gently. Yeah, we all will head to town. I'll ask Karat to dye your wings tonight, and hopefully you didn't get harassed too much today. Well, I learned what Sinbound was. Don't mind the humans. Certainly not the children. They don't understand why they stand in a town cut off from the rest of the world. So few ways to rebel. So they rebel on us. As the rest of the adults seek to protect us and gain luck from us, seeing us on the street, I promise that they'll just get as annoyed. You're healing well. Maybe a few more days and we can take these out. Yam flinched at the probing fingers. So when do I have to find work? Not until the stitch is out, and maybe even then, a bit later. What do you all do? Yam asked, pulling his shirt down. Well, I take care of the home and see to the medical kids. Karat said, coming in, beaten up with a bottle in hand. Karat sat down and started rummaging through the box for bandages. Yam looked at the bottle. It was a thick liquid. Hitel helped Karat getting patched up. I work at the post office, and Rue works at a shelter. Oh, ow. Could you place that gauze nicer? How did you get beat up? I had to go into the forest for dye. Oh, this is the wing dye? Thank you for getting this for me, Yam tilted the bottle of thick liquid. For us, I use it when I head into town. It only lasts for a few days. I'll show you what tree to gather it from. Karat's voice was stern but quiet. Yam thought of all things in the very instant, everything that could be in the woods. You're pale, I promise it's not that scary, and we'll go by the light of day. Yam shuddered. How did you get hurt? By going off the path and through some brambles. I don't look that bad, do I? No, just, are there predators? No, not that I've ever seen. You'll be fine. Rue leaned on the table. It really isn't that dangerous, Rue agreed. Yam still felt unsettled. Okay. Yam finished his sandwich and shot a look at Rue, who nodded ever so slightly. They both stood. I'm gonna go show Yam the journals, Rue said as they left the common room. Hitel gave a short wave. Rue led them upstairs to a large open room lined with books all over the walls but one. On that wall were notebooks of all different types, sizes. Some looked really old. Yam touched the bindings, some spiraled, some book-bound, even some cloth and leather. His hand stopped by a tiny notebook. Yam picked it up. You said you'd tell me the answer you got. I did. I asked a lot of questions, to be honest, as I think you should too. We get answers, and humans here don't. As for why, Theremne said that this is a privilege because unlike humans, we don't have time in this second life to think deeply on things that we may need to ease our passing. That's the wording I was given anyway. Second life. Why the secrets? Yam sat down at a desk with a tiny notebook. Well, Hitel thinks that it's all distraction, so it's not not necessarily secret. I don't like to bother people, and Karat is stuck ever since we lost Rook. He doesn't want to really hear anything or ask anything. Rue sighed. Even more now, my wings turn gray, and they both shut down on me. Yam frowned. That bad? Yes, we all used to be very, very close together. I miss that a lot. Rue sat down hard. I wanted a chance to talk to you without being talked down to or interrupted. I need to be heard. Make your own opinion and mind up after you hear. Yam leaned forward. Okay, I'll hear you out. Rue smiled. We get to know because there is nothing we can do with the info. Humans won't listen to us, and outside of the notebooks, we can't really leave much behind of anything. No family lines for us. the walls keep us separated not just from the world, but from other planes as well. If existence is in all of it, existence is all of it would be a city or town. This would be a cul-de-sac, a dead end, the round on a single road in and out. That's why they feel so suffocating. Get me so far? Sure, it's a closed plane, easy enough. A closed plane for us, but why? In all my time here, this is the one question I have no answers for. The Remnai refuse to answer it if they even have an answer. I'll fly before getting a real answer, so I ask you, New Feather, what do you think? Why ask me? Like you said, I'm new. Nothing I think would be correct, and maybe my answer will change. Then what if you're gone? Yam stopped, realizing that his words were cruel. Rue smiled. Though true, I can ask you again before I leave, hopefully. So just give me the best answer you can. Yam thought about it. A plane for Haibane, closed to everything. Why? It was a good question. Yam couldn't help but to feel like he was born in the middle of the others solving mystery Yam knew nothing about. But he thought about the wounds for some reason. The walls reminded him of a deep scab. Maybe to heal? Yam finally muttered, looking at his hands. Wow, I actually really like that answer, Rue laughed, warmly grabbing Yam's hands and drawing his eyes up. Hitel says that there isn't rhyme or reason to life. Karat says that we're cut off because we're proof God is real. I think it's because it's to protect us. But healing makes so much sense. I almost hope your answer doesn't change. I guess we'll see. Yam smiled and nodded. I guess. In blue writing in the journal. Each day seems I have become more settled in this world. I have started to look for work, but I must admit it's a bit hard. There's only so many places I can work. Also, I keep getting distracted by reading from these notebooks. There's something so comforting in this written word. Most of the time it's simple everyday stuff. I thought there would be more secrets, questions, and answers, but not really. Some of it is better. Somehow it is more calming. This world is so calming. As long as I dye my wings, the town folk are sweet and kind. Rue has been showing me all of the places and relaxing and just pretty spots. The relaxing and pretty spots. Rue excitedly waited for Yam at breakfast. I want to show you an amazing place today. Yam yawned. I love to, but Rue, shouldn't I be looking for work? Aren't you? Yeah, I just figured I should focus since I haven't had any luck. You can do both. It's not like you use your book that much or anything. Besides, you can always work at the shelter. I am sure at the shelter I work at, I am sure you would be welcome. They're sad that I'll be leaving soon, so it will help them. Yam smile. Oh. Darn. I'll be leaving there soon, so it'll help. We can stop by there first today. Yam smiled and finished his toast. Maybe it'll be easier then than what I've been trying to do. Yeah, like where? Rue cleaned up his plate. Well, the thrift store, library. Yeah, it's hard to find old places to work, and even harder if they know my wings are black. Yeah, I'm sorry. If it helps, Sarah won't care. Well, Rue said insistently. Well, that's nice. And that is what I have written so far. It is, again, not the most... I mean, it's a first draft. You know what I mean? Like, there's not gonna be... It's not gonna be like a masterpiece right away. But I like it. And it makes me feel decent. The ideas are supposed to be going from one type of afterlife to another type of afterlife. All well, Judy is trying to convince Will that he wants to come and be at the you know, at the default home. All the while, Will trying to convince Judy that everyone is in a place for a reason. So I'm going to rewrite it. First, I'm going to have more in the beginning about actual heaven and my ideas of heaven and stuff like that before heading off to Valhalla. But then I'm gonna drop the part where Judy finds Will, like, right away. Instead, I think that Judy is going to have to more or less go from place to place looking for Will. Yeah, I think that that's better. They basically go to the war games and Will's not there. They go out hunting and Will's not there. And they slowly have to, like, go on the roads of the afterlife looking for Will. You know what I mean? Only to find maybe he's out soul tracking or something like that. Excuse me. That's just my thought on it anyway. So yeah, I hope you guys liked that. I'll probably post this up to YouTube. I was kind of back and forth on that originally, but I think it would actually be a good idea. Anyway, this is my first time doing a Write With Me. One person has joined and then instantly left when they heard me reading, which, fair enough, my reading voice is not the best. I was thinking of doing a longer stream, but I think for this one, to start for this one, I will, I'll just leave it here. This was a really good one. This was kind of long. And I started a foundation of something. And more than that, I think, what's it? How to explain? I think that as I do more and more, it will become easier to figure out how I want to set this up. If that makes sense. Yeah, thank you for coming along on this journey. I hope that if you see this on YouTube or something, that maybe you'll drop by on the live stream and come write with me. I know I would appreciate it. So thanks. Bye guys.